Hi there, this is week 3, assignment 3 feedback for Katie and for Amanda. So Katie, let's start with yours. Complementary harmony is correct, palette looks good, split complementary is correct, and the palette looks great. So looking at the designs, there's a broad use of tints, tones, and shades from the palette to explore color contrast, value contrast, saturation contrast, so all of that is there. It's really great in exploring the idea of contrast, not only in color but also in shape. What I want you to think about is how to use contrast to create a focal point in the design. And the most complex shape is this kind of star shape that you have up in the right hand corner. So that's a natural shape to be the focal point because it's unique in the composition. There's only one of them, and it has a lot of shape complexity. I would recommend bringing it down into this area of the design. This feels like a more natural area of the composition to have a focal point. And then you can have all this other areas just kind of being a pause moment in the design. So thinking about activity versus pause in an asymmetric composition. That being the case, if that is your focal point, we have it down in the left area, bottom left of the composition. You want it to be the brightest, the lightest, and have the most contrast to all other areas of the design. So really thinking about using color contrast and shape contrast to establish a strong focal point in your composition. So that's my recommendation for revision. As I'm looking at it, there's one other area. This little rectangle right here, it's sharing a line with that background shape here and here. I would make it either a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller or move it up just a bit so it's not sharing lines with other shapes. That it's making sort of, it's okay if you do that in all areas of the composition, but it's the only area of the design that's doing that. I think a simple remedy would be moving it up or moving it down so that it's not sharing those two lines. Let's take a look here, Amanda. Really great work. So complementary is correct. Split complementary looks good. Again, we have this strong composition that uses a broad range of tints, tones, and shades in the design. For yours, I wouldn't recommend having a focal point because it feels like we're looking at sort of a microscopic level of a larger patterning. And in that patterning, we wouldn't want to have a focal point. However, I do recommend adding a little bit more contrast to the star shape in the upper right hand area of your split complementary, because that star shape and the green and the background are very similar to one another, so they're kind of blending in. I would add just a little bit more contrast to that color, and then you'd have to repeat it obviously in the star on the bottom so that we can see all areas of that star equally.